Hi everyone, happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Stina Show. Another fun-filled week. I hope everyone's good. Tonight's guest is Aylam Orian, who's an animal rights activist and an actor. Yes, hey Loy, welcome. Welcome to the show, Loy. Happy Thursday. If we always wait for our guests. If you have any questions, you ask in the comment section of the question box area. How you doing? Hey man. I have so many bug bites from being outside. It's so crazy. Thankfully, it hasn't been as humid. In New York. I don't know about where y'all are. So, let me see how to do this. Hold on a second. Let me get him. Oh, shit! How are you, Ayla?
Good. Right in time?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. You found your way through this matrix situation.
No worries.
You
Good to
look
see you.
good.
It's been a few years.
At least, yeah, you look good. I like the look.
You too.
Thank you. I'm always following what you do because you're a very big inspiration. But
Oh, thank you.
I found your Wikipedia, and I didn't know you actually. Sorry, it's a sidetrack. You wrote the Declaration for Animal Rights.
This version, yeah. There's been older versions. Some were called Declaration of Animal Welfare, and they're not very pro-rights. They're like, just kill them, but humanely. So we scratched all that out, and we wrote a new one that is completely what we call abolitionist, meaning 100% animal. The goal is 100% animal liberation.
Oh, I love that. And you have a Wikipedia. How cool is that?
Yeah, actually, I tried to write one for myself, but it's so hard. I mean, it's impossible. They kill everything you write there, which is not exactly by their rules. They kick you out. They delete it. So then I gave up, and whoever wrote it, whatever's there, it's not me.
Nice. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, but we met in LA at SAG, right? Going to screenings and workshops and
Yeah. Then you took my class, I think.
I was gonna say, and then that led
Yeah.
to me taking your what were we learning? Was it method or what was that?
Emotional tools for film and TV.
Yeah, but it was a specific method. We were a
Yeah. So
Meisner?
the
No,
method, the Lee Strasberg method.
Lee Strasberg. That's what we were doing. That was fun. I know it was short lived, but because I left LA, but I had a lot of fun with you guys. It was a very intimate class, and you were a great teacher. I had a lot of fun with you
Thank you.
guys. And so you've been acting a long time then, I guess.
Yeah, I started acting in Israel in like nine. Well, I went to film school, and then I acted in my friends' films and my own film. So, but that's not professional acting. And then after film school, I realized I want to be in front of the cameras. That was around 1997, and I went and got an agent. There were only 5 agents in Israel at the time, 5
Ah,
in the whole country. So I went to one of them. I told him, "Hey, I've done acting for camera." Blah, blah. She took me on, and I did some commercials. So professionally, I started working as an actor around 1997, which is how many years ago? 20,
don't do
20
it. Don't do
24
the
years ago.
don't do the math. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I like to ask my guests, when you were younger, did you know you wanted to be in entertainment and activism, like little baby Ayla?
Not little baby. I was always attracted to performing. I play the guitar, and I dreamt of performing, but I never dared because my family was not very artistic and kind of, my mom is a psychologist. My dad is a history, professor. And, we were supposed to do something, typical Jewish house. We were supposed to do something, serious with ourselves. So even though I loved music and films and, and art in general, even I did photography and I did some sculpting and painting. I dabbled in all the arts, so to speak. I never thought about it seriously. And then after the army, after my military service,
Nice.
I actually went to study psychology. Something that I like. My mom is a psychologist. My older sister is a psychologist. My younger sister is a psychologist. I've been to a few psychologists. So I love the profession. So I went to study it. And then I realized, well, it's not for me. I love it. I realized I need to go to therapy, one. And second, I need to do something else. So then I took a year off. And then I started working. My kind of student job was I started working in the Israeli Cinematheque, which is like an art house cinema. There's only one in Tel Aviv. It's a big one. But, it shows all the great cinema from around the world, Fellini and Antonioni and Bergman and all those great guys. And that's where my eyes opened to the seventh art, to film. And then I realized, wow, actually, this combines all the arts all together. I want to study that. And I kind of brave to tell my parents I'm going in that direction. And yeah, never stopped since then.
That's so cool. That's really cool that everyone in Israel does the military, right?
Yeah.
Did you like that? Was that good for you?
It was very interesting because I was in the intelligence, so I saw and did as a young, 19-year-old, 20-year-old officer, I did things that are mind-blowing that you would never think of letting a 20-year-old be in charge of, like top security things and things that you can't even talk about. So I was exposed to like fascinating stuff and almost wanted to continue that. They offer you, I did 5 years and then almost 5 years. And then they offer you, hey, you want to continue in the civilian intelligence. And I thought about it, but kind of, I didn't want to be in a system, it's a tough system. You work all day long. Whenever there's work, you have to work. And it's very important and it's serious. And it's like, high stakes. But then you don't really have family life, and you don't have, if you want to be an artist, you want to play the guitar and do that, it doesn't really sit well with that kind of world. So it's a fascinating world, but I needed a little break. So I didn't go there eventually. Like 5 years was enough. But I still love, all the James Bond movies and spy movies and all
That's cool. I think America should do that with everyone serving, but that's a different topic. But
everybody in Israel serves, men, women, everybody. It teaches you a lot about yourself, about your limits, not to never give up, especially in officers training. It's a thing like no matter how hard it is, never give up, never give up. And also you kind of learn, you become responsible. Like in America at the same age, kids go to college and mostly get drunk, get laid and get stoned. And in Israel, you're like 20 years old. You're like, sending messages to the head of the army, like, oh, this is a red alert, all kind of stuff like that, which is really like, it teaches you responsibility and teaches you how to be
yeah, and there's like, well, I'm in the Navy, and then I'm also thinking of like cleanliness and organization too on the other end of it,
Yeah.
That's
You
cool.
need to tell me about the Navy thing. So you joined the Navy.
Yes, I did 2.5 years ago, but we'll talk about that offline later.
Okay.
Later.
Yeah.
So that's a form of activism then, the military.
Well, I don't know. Some people would say it's activism for the wrong causes, but our job was literally defending the country, and there's many enemies that want to kill everybody and ruin the country. So our job was, we never hurt anybody, but our job was to defend the country, to alert the people at the top if there's any threat or stuff like that.
Yeah, you weren't hurting anyone. That's the point, right? So when did you get into activism?
You mean animal rights?
Animal rights, yeah.
Yeah, much later. I grew up, in Israel, there's cats everywhere, so I loved cats. I loved animals, really, tons of them. In all the Middle East, But Israel, it's like a pandemic of cats, and people love them and feed them. But, so I started feeding the cats, and, I was like a feeding station for like 20 cats, and everybody knows them. They live under your building, in the yard. And then also there were horses. Israel had this thing which came from Eastern Europe, kind of this Jewish Yiddish custom called Alte Sachen, which is basically a poor skinny horse carrying a carriage in the middle in the city streets among cars and all that. And there's a guy in the back, and he shouts "Alte Sachen," which means old things in Yiddish. And then if you have an oven or a fridge you want to get rid of, he stops, you bring it down, he just takes it.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, this poor horse is carrying like a cart full of appliances, like tons of in weight. And I started getting really pissed. I said, "How? Come on! It's not the Middle Ages. Enough! This cannot happen. Who's taking care of these horses?" So I started writing letters and trying to be active and to solve this issue. I think by then, like 20 years later, I finally stopped it. But I started getting angry about things. Injustice, mostly. There's many types of injustice, but what I saw mostly was injustice to animals. So I started getting upset about it, but I still didn't make the switch, and I was still eating other animals, right? I still was ignorant. I wasn't aware of how we raise, chickens and cows and pigs, and how we kill them, and the whole system of, processing them and all that. So I was feeding the cats, fighting for the horses, but still eating other animals. And the coin dropped only when I was already in New York. Combination of causes, but I was studying Indian philosophy, Vedanta. Nice. And my teacher described what humans would do, the lengths of cruelty they would go to just to satisfy their taste buds. I remember that phrase. And then at the same time, I saw a leaflet from a great group called Vegan Outreach. And this leaflet is called Why Vegan? And it's not too graphic, just shows you factory farms for chickens, battery cages, veal crates, which is a crate they put baby veals into, make them fatten up. They can't move too much, so make them fatten up and be tender. And then at the age of 6 months, they kill them. So I didn't even need to see videos. I saw images in this leaflet, and my eyes were open. And I realized, wow, this wasn't what I'm causing when I eat, a sandwich, with meat or chicken. And I decided, okay, I'm going vegetarian. I'm not going to be a part of it anymore. I didn't know about the egg and dairy industry. I thought, it's just the meat industry. Yeah. So I went vegetarian, and then started, finding other people who were vegetarian and active for animal rights. And there's a few groups in New York. So I started going to meetings and kind of going to their demos. And then my eyes were open to the dairy industry and the eggs industry, which are not less cruel, actually sometimes more cruel than the meat industry. Right. And that's when I went vegan and so on and so on.
No, I love that, because you were when I became a vegan in LA, I've fallen off a few times, but when I was vegan, that's when we were hanging out, and you were very inspiring, because the technology, you and I started hanging out probably 2013, I would say, and technology wasn't what it is now. Now it's so easy to be a vegan. I don't understand people, but I just remember you were a vegan back then, and it was so cool to me. And then they did the National Animal Rights Day.
Yeah, I started that in 2010. I went to the Cannes Film Festival because I studied acting in New York, and I did some short films. And so one short film that I did, I went with it to the Cannes Film Festival, and on the way back, I stopped in Madrid, Spain, and I saw this group. And so by then I was active with different groups like PETA and Mercy for Animals and Farm Sanctuary in New York, but I never felt that any of these activism, leafleting in the street or protests or stuff like that wasn't really my thing. And then I saw in the streets of Madrid, I'm walking Plaza del Sol one day, the central square there, and I see people standing in line with laptops on their bodies, and then just standing there silently playing videos, and not shouting at you, not telling anything, just standing there looking you in the eye and playing videos of slaughter and how animals are treated in farms. And that blew me away. I said, wow, that's great. That's harnessing the power of film and video, like the visual audio visual world, to send a message. The visuals speak on their own. The people are very, they're very silent, and they look at you, and then basically this eye contact helps. Because you see, they're normal people. They're not angry, crazy vegans. They're like people standing there and showing you the truth, and they actually they create a safe space for passersby to stop and feel something, because usually when you see something you know, like you see a protest for whatever cause, usually it's somehow offensive a little bit. It's attacking you. It's like, hey, you want to sign? You want to? And then most people just leave me alone, you know.
Right.
This kind of was the opposite, and I stood there. I watched the videos, and I went to them and I asked them, guys, who are you? You gave me this idea. I want to do it in America. Who are you? And they're called Igualdad Animal, Animal Equality. They're a great group. But then at the time they weren't ready to hop over to the U.S. Since then they did, and their two founders are here in LA. But they said, oh, we're not ready to open a branch in New York. But I said, you know what? Can I borrow your methods? I said, sure. And so I collected some activists and started doing these demos in Union Square, New York.
Nice.
Laptops didn't work well, so we brought a big ass TV. It was a time before flat TV, so we brought a big ass TV. I don't remember how we powered it. Somehow we found power, like a generator, and we just showed films on this TV. And it was kind of effective, and we had a little group that we did it, you know, every week. And we realized, yeah, we're reaching people, but not too many. So, I don't know, 20 people would stop and watch, and others were too far away. And so then I decided, you know what, let me get all the animal rights groups in New York together to a meeting. Let's do an event like they do in Spain. Let's, you know, in Europe, they have this notion, it's a socialist, you know, most countries are socialist, right? In a good way. So I know here socialism is a bad word, but they have a culture of the collective, you know, everybody working for one cause together.
Right.
Whereas the US is the country of the individual, everybody works for their own ass, basically. It's very hard to get people to collect people to fight for a cause.
Right,
unless there's a big disaster. Right.
True.
So I attempted to rally all of them. Let's join forces and do one big event like that, not just 10 people standing and showing videos. Let's have 500 people showing videos, showing, you know, photos, doing something. And they liked the idea, and then one by one they kind of dropped out and didn't like so-and-so and that, this and that. And I ended up, me and a lady called Zelda Pinzel, just the two of us kind of pushing through. And we did this event, and we still had groups coming and having a booth with us, and we did a ceremony for the animals, and we wrote the declaration and read it, the Declaration of Animal Rights, and read it there for the first time. And we decided, oh, that's a cool event. Let's call it something unique. And we decided, let's call it the National Animal Rights Day. And that was the first time. And then we decided, hey, let's continue this tradition every year, first Sunday of June.
You created National Animal Rights Day.
Yeah. And that now it's, you know, that was for the US, and then Canada, somebody in Canada wanted to do it. So now there's a National Animal Rights Day in about 25 countries, including, you know, Canada, Europe, the UK, Africa, Congo in Africa, Nigeria in Africa, Kenya, Taiwan, we have Japan, so India, many countries around the world.
Look at what a boss you are.
Yeah, I'm bossing them to do it, but it's tough, you know. It's until it will take some time until it's recognized by each country, like as a national day. But at least, you know, people are celebrating it, and we developed this very specific format for these events. It always starts with an opening ceremony, which is kind of a memorial service for the billions of animals that die every year. And you attended, I know, a few in New York. But then we don't end up there. Yeah, we don't end up there. The second part is a celebration. It's the other side. We want to, just like we want to lament the sad reality of billions of animals, literally billions killed every year on this planet. We want to celebrate also the steps that we're making as humanity towards ending this abuse of animals, and, you know, the world going vegan, going green, hopefully will end there. You know, global warming is involved, climate change, what Greta Thunberg is talking about. You know, we got to wake up and do something. So we celebrate the steps are being made towards that goal, but of course it's going too slow, and we got to wake up and do more. So we're kind of celebrating the future. So it's a memorial service and then a celebration, and people love this format, and people love this format around the world now. People are adopting it, and you know, they're all wearing our shirt.
Yeah,
so that's kind of
I
nice
have your shirt.
to see all around the world. So
it's a community too. I've met many great people at those events that I still am in contact with, and they're the most empathetic, compassionate people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
But you know, I cry every time.
No, I cry. I mean,
I mean,
you know,
but then we celebrate, right.
yeah. But as you know, sometimes, I mean, we can tell people sometimes, oh, there's my friend Cesar. Well, everywhere, wherever. Hi, Cesar. Who's an amazing animal rights activist from here, from LA. And Tony, my friend Tony. What did I want to say? Oh, yes. As you know, in some of our events, in these opening ceremonies, we have the bodies of some of the real victims. They weren't killed. They died on their own in all kind of places. But we basically, if we didn't take their bodies, if they didn't die on their own, they would be killed the next day or something. So sometimes we have real dead animals with us, and we hold them very tenderly in our arms, and we show them to the public, see how, you know, they look like, just like your cat or dog, no difference, or your human baby, the way you would hold them. And so we not only show the public in a non-accusatory way, but a non-verbal way. You look at these animals. That's, in case you've never seen a pig or a chicken. This is a chicken, this is a pig, this is a baby cow. They're dead. And it's, if you understand what we're talking about here, it's probably, I mean, you have something to do with it. I mean, so the more as long as you pay for this meat, these animals will still get killed. But also, we give these specific animals, we give them a name, we tell their story, we give them a proper funeral service, and then we bury them or cremate them later on.
Yeah, that's
so, yeah,
cool. I remember that.
Some of our cities do it with animals. In LA, we just did it with animals, and that's super emotional, and that's very hard. But it opens people's eyes. If you're in the audience and you see that, unless if you're like a hunter and you're like completely desensitized to animals, you don't care. But everybody else who loves, you know, most people love animals, right? They love cats, they love dogs. They're against cruelty. Most people. So when you see it and it really dawns on you in a direct way, wow, it does something to people, and that's the idea.
And that like thinking about it, and you know, there's a disconnect from from the before to after, and it's obviously a manufactured disconnect, right? It's normalized to think that, oh, look at this burger, but no one thinks about how it got to it. And it doesn't matter because convenience is king, right?
Yeah. And yeah, it smells good and it tastes good from what I remember. I mean, and people are used to it. So yeah, sometimes I even need to remind myself when I see something like, I don't know, a croissant and there's egg in it. I remind myself, oh, egg, it's that chicken period that comes from a chicken. It was locked in some cage, you know? Or definitely, I mean, I don't crave meat at all, but I don't know, some drink with milk. I have to remind myself, wow, that's milk from a cow that was basically somebody had to take their baby away so we can drink this milk. And the baby's taken to become veal and all that other horror story. And the cow cries for the baby for 3 weeks, as any mother would do for her babies. They're taken sometimes an hour after they're born.
Yeah, and part of the bottom line is you're a conscious being trying to respect other life and consciousness in this other being, because they don't speak our language doesn't mean that they don't have thoughts and feelings, and their families, right, ripped apart. I mean, right.
Anybody who has a cat or a dog, you know, they have feelings. You know, they get upset. You know, they're loving. You know, they feel pain. They feel pain. I mean, my cat now, he has cancer. He's going through chemo. I mean, he feels pain. He feels sick. He feels bad. He likes, you know, be with me and cuddle and get love and eat well. Loves to eat, you know, like all of us. So I mean, I see the social interactions he had with other cats, you know, and the cats had in Israel. I could see you know, this cat hated that cat. Like whenever this cat would show up, this cat would start. And then one female cat was the princess. She only ate from my hand, not from the floor like everybody else. So all these personalities and connections between them, and you could see who's brothers and sisters. I mean, no difference. And cows and pigs, definitely pigs. Pigs are said to be way smarter than dogs, but definitely cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, they all have social lives. They have families. They remember their partners. They remember their children.
So how long would if veal weren't murdered, how long would they live till? What's the life expectancy for them?
For like a cow, and let's say in nature, if there was no humans involved?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. Maybe Cesar can help us here. But
But
definitely, I don't know.
much longer
Yeah, 10
than what
years,
we
12
did.
years.
We cut their life immediately, essentially.
Yeah, we raise them really fast. We pump them in growth hormones. That's why this meat is full of hormones and antibiotics, so they don't get sick.
Cancer too, right?
But, you know, they're pumped with growth hormones to grow as fast as possible. That's why most chickens, by the time they're killed, they're so big and fat that their legs break. They can't handle the weight.
I saw Natalie Portman eating animals. Did you see that one?
No, the documentary.
It was very well done because it's like problem solution. But in that documentary, they show these farmers, and the farmers are like going against whoever hired them because they're in so much debt, and they have like these pink lakes and shit. It's crazy, but of like waste, you know. But they show that they have to give them antibiotics and their legs broken, but they still sell them to people, right? They still sell them with diseases. Where basically the chickens in the stores have diseases. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's no wonder that all these pandemics come from animals. Swine flu, you know, chicken flu, COVID, all these. I mean, I've never seen a virus comes from a carrot, right? Excuse me. It comes from animals being confined in filthy conditions, which are not only in the East, you know, the wet markets. If you went to a factory farm, you'll be appalled because it's the same thing. They're all crammed together in their feces. Many of them die because of, you know, the weight, the heat, the exhaustion, and so the other animals live on top of them. They step on them. Sometimes they eat them because they have nothing to eat. They eat their friends, but they're crammed together. Chickens can't open their wings and do naturally, you know, like fly a little bit or do anything. Yeah, if you're a veal and if you're a baby calf in a veal crate, you can't move. Pigs in saw crates, like mother pigs. They're in metal cages. They cannot move. They just lie down. They're a machine. They give babies. The babies feed off of them. And then when they're done, you know, the cycles of giving babies and the babies be taken away, when they're too weak to even do that, they're killed. But they cannot move. They line up, you know, they're so fat. They line up in a metal cage. They cannot even turn around. And battery cages for chicken, basically they cram like 10 chickens in a cage, metal cage this size, no ground, it's all metal. So they never touch the ground, their feet, which are used to, you know, dirt in the ground. They cram in the metal cage, they can't even move their wings. They go crazy, they peck each other. So they cut their you know, beaks with a hot metal thing. It's terrible. Any way you look at it, it's a sin. You think, what? This is like Inquisition, you know, what is it? Was it 1492 or something? The Spanish Inquisition. These are torture methods that you would never wish on your worst enemies. Definitely not on humans, but still, yet we do them to animals, right? All kind of torture methods that you're like be appalled, like. And on a mass scale, we're not talking about a little farm that cages some chickens. Big hangars, what we call factory farms, which are most farms these days because it's more profitable. They, you know, churn out the product quickly, and it's cheap for them to do because of the masses. But if you went to these places, you'll see all these. It's a concentration camp.
It is a concentration.
Death camps, and I'm not afraid to use the word Holocaust because, you know, I'm Jewish and half of my family died in that Holocaust. And when you compare the cruelty and the methods used and the numbers involved, 6 million Jews died in that Holocaust, right? 6 million animals die every minute in the U.S. Every minute. And
another thing is, it's like, it's only one step away from people. Like, if you think about it, you know what I mean? In some countries, there's cannibalism is real. And if we lose, we have to start going backwards, right? Not forwards with that, even that methodology.
Yeah, the idea is, you know, we draw our circle of compassion or of who's like us and who should be protected arbitrarily around humans. And it used to be around a certain breed of humans, white people who were from the Aryan breed, the Nazis. That was their thinking. So Jews are like vermin, right? And indeed, there should be caged. They were caged. They were exterminated. They were tortured. They were shot. Yeah, treated like vermin, like we treat vermin. And then and this country treated black people in not a very dissimilar way, right? Because they were out of the circle of compassion. And then we learn over the years, it take hundreds of years, but finally we learned, oh, these are people too. They have feelings. They're just like us. And then we decided as a society to include them in the circle of compassion. So now Jews are included, Black people are included, gay people are included. I mean, there's still a long way to go, right?
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but slowly more groups that were considered marginalized and other are included in the sameness, in the group of natural compassion and rights and all that. But then we stop at animals. No, we include cats and dogs. So it's totally arbitrary. We include cats and dogs, but then we stop there. Cats, dogs, yes. Pigs, baby calves look just like a dog. No. Chickens, no. Maybe, we'll have a hamster. Yes.
Right. People
Hamster,
choose.
yes, but raccoon, no. Vermin, oh, disgusting animal, should be killed. Mice, rats, oh, disgusting. It's totally arbitrary. And when you open your eyes to the silliness behind it, is like, why? It's arbitrary. Why did we decide? Who decided that this animal is bad and should be not only not have basic rights, but totally abused and tortured. And treated like crap, poisoned and all kind of stuff, right? Exterminated, all these terms. And then other animals not, and humans not. It just, if you really, and especially if you study the Eastern philosophies, Tibetan Buddhism and Indian philosophy, they talk about it, Advaita, Advaita Vedanta, we're all the same, non-duality. We're all part of this nature, including with trees and stones and everything else. But there's no real difference between you and an insect and a horse. You're different forms of life, and you're part of the same Brahman, like universal
energy, right?
Yeah, or entity. And you don't need to be a follower of those religions to really accept this idea that we're all part of the same system. We're all the same. We're all equal. We should be equal. There's no reason that one species should be abused and killed. That's food. One species should be exterminated like rats because that's dirty. One species should be loved, cats and dogs. And one species should be loved like horses, but also used for racing and other stuff and carrying alte Sachen in Israel. And other species are,
Yeah, no, I appreciate. I'm gonna go to acting because I could talk about this all.
I know, me too.
You know what I mean, right? So I wanted
days.
to talk about it first because I knew it would kind of be heavy, but I might come back to it later. But thank you for your service because we need these things. We need this awareness. Acting. So you said you were very young when you started. Actually, psychology.
I was very old when I started.
Psychology is acting, though, in my eyes.
It definitely helps, learning about characters and what motivates people. But I started pretty late, again, because of the army. Usually here you start acting, at like 19, 20, you go to college, let's say after school. Usually people start in high school. They do plays and all that, which we didn't have in my high school. Didn't have any of that in my high school.
Wow.
But I went to university, studied film, and I didn't even think about acting. So I went to study film. I was already like 25, 26. Then I studied film for 4 years. And then when I finished that, I realized, I like more being in front of the camera. So by the time I returned to New York to properly study acting at the Lee Strasberg Institute, I was 32 actually already.
Wow.
It was really late, yeah. It was me and a bunch of 18-year-olds from different countries.
Wow, that's cool. I mean, don't tell me your age now, but you look young. That's good.
Oh.
Wow, that's cool. Good for you for doing what your heart tells you to do.
Yeah, of course, everybody, my family thought I was crazy. Everybody thought I was crazy. But, I'm the only one from my family who was born here. So I was always a citizen, American citizen. So it was easy for me to come back. And I knew one day that I always end up back here. So I just came back and stayed in New York. I came for 3 months just to try it out, this acting thing, this acting school. And I loved it so much that I stayed 20 years now.
Wow. You speak Hebrew, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Teach me something.
I
know. What is it?
Shalom.
Oh, I know Shalom. I'm Jewish, by the way,
right.
But I'm Chava. Nice to meet you. What's your Hebrew name?
Aylam, that's my
That's
Hebrew
it. You're 100%.
Yeah, it's from the Bible.
Because you're from Israel.
No, it's actually a name from the Bible. It's not a very known guy in the Bible, but he was a cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So let's go to your IMDb. Yours. What are some of your favorite gigs? And I like that you were on Stargate Origins. That's cool.
Yeah, so that was kind of in a way my biggest one, what they call series regular. So basically I played the bad guy of the show, and ironically I played a Nazi. So I played a German Nazi, but not a Nazi that goes and kills people, a Nazi that was more like a, Indiana Jones type of archaeologist, researchers after treasures and figuring out this gate, the Stargate that they found in Egypt, and figuring out what's the magic behind it. Well, that was fun. Speaking with a German accent and wearing Nazi uniform and abusing everybody else around me, bossing them more to speak, so to speak. That was fun. And actually, a play that I did right before the pandemic, I did the play here in LA at the Museum of Tolerance. They have a nice theater there. And it was the American premiere of a new play called Anne, which is a kind of reconstruction of the Anne Frank story. What if Anne didn't die at the end? What if she survived? What if she survived and became a writer? And so it's a very interesting take on the Anne Frank story. So that was really fun and important to do.
That sounds cool. I hope that keeps going.
Yeah. Did you do plays so far? Theater?
When I was younger, I did like one or two things.
But you never did the New York, black box theater like everybody else does?
No. When I first started acting when I was like 18, I auditioned for it, but I just kept going back to film, so I didn't. But I want to. Who doesn't? What actor doesn't want to be on stage, right?
Yeah, no, it's a great experience. And Tony here, our friend Tony, who I don't know if he's still here, he was in the cast also of Anne.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So are you writing? I think you're a writer, right?
Like everybody, I'm trying to write. I wrote a pilot like everybody else in LA. They said you throw a stone in LA, you hit an actor or a writer. So I wrote a pilot, and I'm trying to, have some ideas for feature films. So I love to write, and I want to write my own stories, especially influenced by, what I saw in the military and all that. It's just, I'm being torn in so many directions. It's hard to find the time to sit myself and write, because auditions and then Aylam Orian and this.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And teaching.
And you have to be motivated, because sitting down doing that is a very focused situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're teaching still?
Yeah. Well, teaching is not my main thing, but whenever I have time, and I love teaching, so whenever I have time, I have a class.
Nice. Oh, on Zoom or what?
Yeah, now it's on Zoom.
Oh, wow. Let's send me some promo emails or something. Send me some promotional emails.
Okay.
And you do music too?
I played, that's one thing I did play in high school. I played guitar, and after the Army, before I went to study film, right after the Army, I was like a hippie. I grew my hair long, played guitar all day, fell in love with this young girl, and like a flower girl, and I relived the days, in the past that I never had. So I had a more or less of a band. We got some guys together and played, and these demos you can hear on my website are from that period. And then I went to New York. My buddy from the band went to Amsterdam. I did meet him in 2009. I went to Amsterdam. We played some more. We recorded a few more demos. But that's another thing I want to go back to, playing music. I don't have time for all of this, because I want to play music, write, do my acting, teaching, animal rights, and a few other things. So
you can do a little bit of everything, no?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. But that's a discipline. But it's really hard, like these small steps, like, oh, just do 20 minutes of writing every day. Just do 20 minutes of animal rights posting and every day. Each one of them turns out into, like, once I start something, it becomes like a 2-hour, and then the others are out the window.
Right.
But yeah, I need to. If you have a good method, anybody, for time management, like really something that works, and let me know.
Maybe a personal coach, because for me, I have no attention span, so I'm the same way. But maybe if you paid someone to put you in line, I don't know,
Yeah.
That's it. Like that, coaching for me physically, that has worked. Otherwise, if no one's telling me what to do, I'm probably not going to do
Yeah.
it. Because we have no attention span. I want to do music and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes, it comes. What I realize is like when my music comes, it like flows through me and comes out, and then I move on. You know.
Well, I've been reading books about the artist way. All these books about the creative process. So some say, yeah, it's when you're feeling inspired and all that. And it's kind of like acting, like sense memory. Sometimes you're going to be inspired, but sometimes you're not. You're having worse mood and you're not there. But you kind of have to force yourself, just like in acting. You go to set and you're not feeling it. Oh, I don't want to cry in the scene. I don't want to break up scene, not again. But you have to bring yourself to do it. So you have to kind of do the technique and bring yourself to that place of being able to do it. And many takes, again, and then let it go, and then return the next day and do some more.
Yeah,
so where actors are good in kind of making themselves feel things and be creative, even if when they don't feel like, that's part of the job, to be creative when you need it.
Right. So sometimes you do have to use the brain a little and push yourself. That's true.
Yeah. And if you're doing a play on Broadway or something 8 times a week for 3 years, I mean, you're not going to be inspired. After like 30 shows, you're probably going to be, oh, enough.
Same words, right?
Same words. I mean, then when you get to performing, it's fun usually, always. But
right.
getting there, not again, it becomes tedious after a while. So you need, as actors, you need to bring yourself emotionally and creatively to be there and love doing it every time.
Right. I have a picture of us at the Marilyn Monroe house, and people always comment on Instagram. Like every now and then I'll get a like on it. It's from years ago, and I'll get a like and a comment.
Because we went to both places.
We went to both, but people love that we went to that house.
You have a picture?
I have a picture on Instagram, and it's me, you.
I'm just gonna plug my phone. One second.
Go ahead.
I gotta notice that it's low.
Low bat.
Yeah, low bat. Wait. Almost done. All right.
So, me, you, and what was his name? Was it Sergio or?
Sergio and Victor.
Yeah, and so Victor took the photo.
Yeah.
And it was me, you, and Sergio in front of Marilyn's pool behind the house together.
Well,
and people like,
remember we weren't supposed to be there. We sneaked into that house, right?
We did, and we had a lemon from her lemon tree.
Well, it was very magical and kind of spiritual, because we went to her grave. It was her anniversary, right?
Yes.
We went to her grave here in Westwood, where she's buried. Not many people know about it. Come on. We went to her grave. We paid our respects, and then I found online, where's the house here in Brentwood that she lived in, and we went there, and lo and behold, the gate was open. So the 3 of us strolled in, walked all around, and then so she had like a big kind of a grass area and a pool, and then a little kind of orchard kind of going downhill at the edge of her property. So we started going down this orchard, and you stopped by it, kind of I think it was not an orange. How do you call the bigger one?
A lemon. It was a lemon.
Lemon tree.
Yeah.
And then one lemon falls into your hand. Remember that? You didn't like pick the lemon.
No, I don't think I didn't pull it off. You're right.
All of a sudden it like wanted to come into your hand. So we actually not only trespassed and went into her house, we actually stole a lemon from there also. From Marilyn Monroe's house.
Yeah, and people are always like, how'd you get in there? Now someone bought it. I think it was for sale at the time, but...
Yeah, I think it was for sale, and that's why it was kind of vacant, and they were probably showing it.
Yeah, no, it was the time to go, because now we'd get arrested.
Right. Yeah, I wonder, it would be cool to find out who lives there. No.
Yeah, I think it wasn't even that expensive. I think when I saw it, a few million, I think. But
a few million.
That's it. You all for LA, it's not a lot. But
right.
But yeah, Brentwood, that's where it was. But everyone loves that photo. I'll show you on Instagram. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It's good. It's classic.
Did you eat the lemon?
We ate the lemon. Yeah. I think we shared it. No, I think maybe when we left.
How do you call the bigger fruit, bigger than lemon and orange? Grapefruit. It was a
Grapefruit.
grapefruit.
I thought
That's
it
what
was a
it was.
lemon.
It was really big, and then
Yeah.
we could eat it.
I don't remember, but it was very good. But the whole day was like synchronicity and flow, right? It was meant to be. And I actually did a photo shoot yesterday as Marilyn Monroe.
Really?
Yeah, I'll
Wow.
post the pictures in the next few days. But yeah, I know, ironic. August 4th is her anniversary of passing, so who knows what that
Yeah.
energy is. But
August
that was
6th.
fun.
Huh?
4th, I looked it up
Oh, but there's
today.
also 6. There's something in her life. Maybe she
Is
was
it
born.
the 6th or June 6th? Maybe she was born.
Could be.
I think so. I looked it up yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's just, it was a great time. What a good time that was, and what a random experience. Like, why did we all go do that, right? It's
I
like,
know.
we went from acting class to Marilyn Monroe Cemetery.
Yeah.
That class was good. It was a good class. So what was I going to say? All right. So I like to ask my guests to bring a deep quote and or enlightenment experience to share. I mean, it sounds like you've already shared enlightenment, but what you got for me?
Well, I had many enlightenment-like experiences when I was studying, Tibetan Buddhism and Indian philosophy and doing yoga. Like after one yoga class at, I think it was Jiva Mukti, where there's a big yoga studio in New York. Yoga classes could be hard, and down dog and stretch, it's hard. But then that particular class, sometimes, the music they play during class is very inspiring. Sometimes it really hits a nerve. And then during Shavasana, the last pose when you lie down to rest, I had like a weird kind of, not out of body, but really, I really felt and saw the fact that I am one like with everybody else. There's this, Indian philosophy idea of oneness, I felt it in my I can't explain, but I felt I am one with everyone, and I'm the same as a plant and an animal and a stone and everything in this world. And I started crying. It was a very moving, very deep moving experience. And then you come out and you just love everybody. For a few minutes, I felt like, coming out to the mean streets of New York, and I was like, oh, how can I help humanity and everyone? I just love everyone. And then you go to the subway and it passes away when people start annoying you. But that was, and it's when every spiritual practicer will tell you that when you're really in the practice, I mean, many people have this experience of the oneness of all of us, that we're all one and we're all connected. And it's just that in regular life we forget it very easily because others upset us and we think they're hurting us, and so we forget about this connection that we have, that we're all kind of brothers, sisters. So it's funny, with animals I have it automatically. I don't need to remind myself. I have it automatically with every animal, even a cockroach, any animal. With people, I sometimes have to remind myself of that. It's more challenging. Just because I think people are so different than each other, and they're violent to each other, and we're just so, one person thinks it's okay to be a white supremacist, and another person thinks on completely the other side of the spectrum. One person thinks violence is okay, the other person is all against violence. And so I think that the differences between humans are just sometimes too much to bridge over, whereas differences between two types of dogs or two types of cats or two types of horses are not that big, I think.
Are you, because I'm a Libra, so I feel like everything is balanced. So in my mind, there has to be bad to be good. I mean, essentially,
Yeah.
That's my theory. I don't like that that's a thing because it's very sad and depressing. But it might, for the scales, it might be,
Yeah. Well, I'm a Virgo, so we're perfectionists. We're trying to fix the world, fix everything, fix the world, fix ourselves, fix everything.
I've been surrounded by a lot of Virgos this week, so cheers.
Oh.
And your birthday's coming up.
Don't remind me.
When is your birthday?
September 4.
Nice. September
10
28th.
birthday as Beyonce.
That's a good song. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, it's
she sings about it in one of her songs.
She does?
Yeah, she's like
About her birthday?
9, 4, whatever. Yeah,
No,
80
it's,
something, whatever. Yeah, whatever year was she was born. But congratulations.
thank you.
I love that. I think that your spiritual studies obviously help tie into your animal rights activism because right, a lot of these religions believe that life is life, right?
Yeah.
And the
Well, like you should,
connection.
you should honor all lives, all forms of life. Um, yeah. I mean, if you're a yogi, you can't be a real yogi and not be, ahimsa. That's one of the first tenets of yoga, right? That's one of the first kind of, how do you call it? the Ten Commandments? Serta Dibrot, the Dibrot in Hebrew. One of the commandments of yoga, right? Ahimsa, which means non-violence to all living beings. Therefore, not eating them, not wearing them, not using them in your shampoos and all that. So it's kind of if you're really following the teachings of yoga and definitely Tibetan Buddhism, nonviolence, and that includes all forms of nonviolence towards everyone, not just people, all beings. The famous, you go to any yoga class, you'll hear, may all the blessing, either you start with it or end with it, may all beings be happy and free, right? So when you really mean it and live your life by it, that's the goal.
It's reflections, right? Because I have a lot of synchronicity, but this like the last 2 days were like I'm totally losing my thought because I went too deep, but reflections in so the better person you are, the more you obviously practice what you preach, right? The more you care for yourself, the more you could care about others. That's like my main theme the last few days.
The more you care for yourself, you can care for others.
Yeah, in obviously positive ways, right? So the more you fill yourself up with all these good things, the more you can do that exactly for other people.
Right.
So if
but
you're
also
just like,
focusing on helping other people. I mean, that's Tibetan Buddhism is all about whatever you want for yourself.
Right. But if you don't practice it yourself, how can you give it to someone?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The key to get anything you want for yourself is to give it to somebody else first, according to Tibetan Buddhism, karma. So if you want a boyfriend, let's say, or a girlfriend, a relationship, you help a lonely person. You once a week you go and you be with them. You help get them out of their loneliness, and then a partner will manifest in your life. You want an acting job? Help fellow actors get acting jobs. Or teach acting. I mean, I see it when I don't have the energy. I don't want to teach. I don't get acting jobs myself. When I'm teaching and I'm coaching and I'm helping other people get auditions, I get more auditions. And anything else, money. You want money? Donate money to other people. Not just spend, but once a year, whatever you can, give to a animal sanctuary. Give to a charity. Give a little bit, whatever you can, but really give and dedicate it. I'm giving this to help them. I really want to help them. And I know that as a byproduct, I'll probably get something myself one day.
Yeah, obviously good intentions reap rewards anyway, right? And you don't even really have to think about that. It's just what it is, right?
Yeah, it's the laws of karma say that whatever you saw, any thoughts, words, and deeds you do towards others, get registered somewhere, actually in your own mind, watching you doing it, and then it multiplies, it grows. So if you do something negative to somebody, if you get pissed at the cashier at Trader Joe's, that grows, and then a week later, somebody will be very rude to you on the phone or on the street. Somebody will cut you off on the street, out of nowhere. And the other way around, you're being kind to a stranger, you're being kind to people, you help somebody get something, right? Today. It grows, and then we don't know the time gap. That's not
right.
3 months later, somebody will help you in a major way, or you get
So karma. I mean, that's what I believe in. 100% karma, right?
Yeah, that's the idea of karma. It's profound, and many times I studied many things after studying all this. I did landmark education. You know what landmark is?
The
landmark
building.
Forum.
It's a building, right?
No, it's educational kind of company that gives kind of self-help courses and touches on spirituality. Yeah, their famous course is called the Landmark Forum, which is a weekend you do, like a whole weekend, and just by talking, sharing things, and it's pretty fascinating. So I studied all kind of things, you know, and then I'm kind of now coming slowly back to the Buddhism because it really explains the best what's.
I love Buddhism. I call myself a Buddhist, even though I don't practice. I want to learn more. That's like my choice. I want to go that direction.
Well, there's a place in Manhattan called the Three Jewels. That's a center, a Buddhist center that has free lectures, free teachers coming. Check it out, because that's where I did most of my studies.
Cool.
The Three Jewels.
The Three Jewels. That's a great way to end it. Do you want to say something to your viewers and then?
My viewers.
And whoever listens after this.
Yeah, we covered it and everything, I think.
Yeah, we did we did an hour, so
wow,
it goes fast, right?
I know, yeah. Especially like when you have a guy like me who talks for hours about himself.
Yeah, but I wish I could keep you on longer because I know I could learn a lot from you. You're awesome.
Thank you. And I still need to hear your Navy story. And
well, you know, we'll zoom later.
Yeah, we'll zoom. We're actually taping an audition later.
Later. He has to prepare, and then we're gonna knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming, Aylam. You're the best. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you, and thanks to all people who joined in. Hopefully,
she said, "What a
some
man."
value. Oh, thank you. Got some value out of it, and you don't think, "Oh, who's this vain jerk?"
No, he's the best. You're the best. Thank you so much. I love you so much, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for coming, Aylam.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye. Oh shit! I know, it's incredible, right? So, I mean, every new episode is my favorite, but this one is next level. I love the depth we reached in this episode. Thank you guys for watching. I don't know if I'll be on next week because I'll be in North Carolina, but either way, tune in. I'll post. I love you. Take care of yourselves, and God bless.